Welcome to The Art of Likeability, ranked one of the top podcasts in the world. In this podcast, you'll discover how to leverage likability to build stronger relationships, lead more efficiently, close more sales, and keep customers happy while increasing success in your professional and personal life. Let's jump in with your host, Arel Moody.
What's going on, Likeability family? Arel Moody here, your host of the Art of Likeability podcast, where you learn incredible strategies to make your life so much more awesome in all areas of your personal, professional, romantic relationships, and most importantly, the relationship with yourself. What this podcast does is we give you very clear, specific, actionable content that takes the complexity of charisma, of likability, of having the quote-unquote it factor into replicatable processes and steps you can take, that anyone can take and start implementing right away. Now, you may notice we do an episode about once a week or so. Last week, I missed an episode. Sorry. Sometimes, I've been putting out episodes once a week since 2014. Excuse me for missing a week. I hope you didn't mind. But we got a great episode to make up for that. That'll be doubly as good as if you got two. So I want to tell you a story. It's actually an interesting story about me and my brother. So I have an older brother. He's actually a rabbi in Israel. A lot of people may not know this about me. And I love him very much. He's a great guy. And he wasn't always like that. He was like a party dude or all that stuff. That's kind of just backstory relevant. But he's always been bigger than me. He was always at least a head and maybe a little bit of his shoulders taller than me, and always was much wider. He was like, he was built like a defensive lineman, and I was built like a safety, for anyone who knows football references. If you don't know football references, he's built like a bouncer at a club. That's how my brother's built, and I'm built more like a school teacher. That's not built like a bouncer. Just, you get what I'm saying, okay? I can't get the analogy game's not so strong right now. He's big, I'm small. That's the point. Work with me on it, okay? Shout out to all my school teachers that are listening. Love you, right? So when I was younger, we'd get into fights. And he'd, beat me up, and he was stronger than me and bigger than me. He's also about almost 3 years older than me. So he always had an advantage on any fight we did. And we would make up, and we would be friends and brothers and all that stuff. But, boys fight, and we lived in the same room together, right? So it's actually interesting. I was on the top bunk, and he was on the bottom bunk, and I would do what I would call a baseball slide, where I would hold on to the bar of the top bunk, and I would slide and kick him in the chest and then just run. Because a lot of my fighting with my brother was hit and run, because I just needed to get in. Because I knew if I went face to face, toe to toe, blow for him, I would lose, right? Because he was quicker than me. Actually, my dad's a really good fighter, and my brother would play fight with my dad, and my dad would take him into the hallway and show him how to throw a jab and a hook. And unfortunately, I wasn't into that growing up. So my dad would try to teach me, and I'd be like, "Oh, Dad, I'm just I'm going to learn how to use my words, and hopefully I won't have to punch people in the face to get my point across." My dad was preparing me to be a man. My brother took to it really well. I felt like in a past lifetime, my brother could have been like a barbarian, like a gladiator, and I would have been like a politician maybe or something, whatever, So, but anyway, so I would fight my brother. He'd beat me up. He'd slam me. He'd punch me. He'd do that stuff. And one day I learned this move, and it was called the bulldog. It's a wrestling move. Basically, if you can visualize it, imagine someone running from behind, grabbing someone into a headlock, and then you just keep running, and you lift your feet in the air, and you drop the person's head that you have in a headlock into the floor. It's like a finisher move. It's devastating, right? At least that's what I thought. And so I decided to try it on my brother. So one day he wasn't looking, and I ran up behind him, put him into this headlock, jumped in the air, and used my running momentum in my jump to take him off balance and drop him face first into the ground. Boom! I did it, And he was not ready for that, and he was like holding himself and he was like, oh my God. And I was like, I did it. Like, I took down the giant, right? And I was like, yeah. And then I did it again at this other time. And like my body weight and my momentum was too much for him. Boom, knocked him down. And it was really cool because I felt like I thought I had this indefensible move. I had this way of winning finally. I knew if I squared toe to toe with him, he'd throw some punches, get me in my ribs, knock my breath out, I was done. But I could somehow get a running head start, boom, put him in a headlock, drop him to the ground, I'd win. So there's one particular day, I was like, I'm going to put him into the bulldog again, right? So I ran, I grabbed him in the headlock because I was mad about something he did to me earlier. I wanted to get him back. And I jumped. And normally I would land with my booty on the ground and bring his face and front body into the ground. But this time I started noticing the world started spinning and I started moving vertically. I was like, what's happening? So apparently my brother got prepared for this offensive attack. And he had this defensive attack in which he braced himself and used his strength to pick me up and suplex me, which is dropping my back into the ground. He would fall backwards and boom. So he did that move to me once and I was like, it hurt, shocked me. Suplex is a pretty serious move as well. And I had this feeling of dread because I'm like, yo, this was supposed to be my thing. This was supposed to be my indefensible move. And now he's got a defense for it that turns into an offense that totally took the wind out of me and just took me down. And it really made me feel like, man, this is horrible. And I got really sad and really depressed, in a way that a kid can about something like this nature. And I realized something about my brother that, I would never beat him up. So I came up with this new strategy, and it sounds funny, but it worked really well. I told him, you know what, Mo, I'm never going to beat you in a fight right now. You're too big. My brother's name is Mo, by the way. I was just not calling him a random name. His name's Mo. I was like, Mo, I'm never going to beat you in a fight. So I told him, I said, when I turn 18, I'm going to be bigger. I'm going to be stronger. And I was like, on my 18th birthday, I'm going to find you and I'm going to punch you in the face and I'm going to beat you up. So I'm not fighting you anymore because I know I can't win. But just know when I get older, I'm going to get stronger, I'm going to be bigger, I'm going to lift weights, and on my 18th birthday, I'm going to find you and beat you up. So it's actually interesting because instead of fighting him, I would always just say, I'm going to fight you when I'm 18. So, maybe I started doing this when I was 12 or 13 or something like that, right? Or 11. I forget how old I was. I was old kid, but not a teenager yet, right? It's probably 11, maybe 12. And I just told him, I'm not fighting you right now because I know I'm not going to win. But when I'm 18, I'm going to be bigger, I'm going to be stronger, I'm going to beat you up, right? So whenever I felt like I wanted to fight Mo or he wanted to fight me, I would tell him, don't fight me now. Fight me when I'm 18, when it's going to be more of a fair fight. And it was a weird strategy that actually worked. Our actual physical altercations dropped tremendously because I would use my words and I would say hey, I'm not going to, before I'd fight him, but I'm I'm not going to fight you. Fight me when I'm 18. So I just kept pushing it off. It's actually interesting because my 18th birthday came and my brother and I went to the same college and I turned 18 when I was in college. And I knocked on his door and he opened it up and I said, it's my 18th birthday. And he's like, are you seriously going to fight me? And I'm like, no, I'm not going to fight. Because I was because we had stopped fighting. I just didn't have a desire to. So it actually worked really well. So here's why I bring this story up to you. In life, there are going to be many moments and many times where what we're doing and what we're working on no longer will work. And it's a sad moment, Maybe you've been in a job. Maybe you've been in a relationship. Maybe you've been working toward a particular goal. And it's just not working anymore. It's not providing the pizzazz you want. You're not necessarily, maybe you were getting results 5 years ago, but you're not getting results today with whatever strategy you were using. Maybe the job you're in is not satisfying you. Maybe you're looking to do something more. When a door closes, it's not a bad thing. If you can start looking at every ending, whether it's a job or a house, maybe you move to a new city, or maybe a boss that you love leaves, or an employee that you love leaves, or a coworker leaves, or a relationship ends, or whatever it is. If you believe that it's ending and it's really a beginning, and it's an interesting way of looking at all things in life, because the ending of my physical fights with my brother actually ushered in this new kind of way of being, which was using my words. Now, obviously, using my words has really impacted and changed my life in a lot of ways. I do the podcast. I'm a professional speaker. I train other people to be professional speakers. If that's something you're interested in, if you haven't done so yet, check out our monthly mastermind. You can go to truespeakingsuccess.com/mastermind. That's one of the companies I own. truespeakingsuccess.com/mastermind. You can sign up for a very effective and affordable monthly mastermind where I teach you how to run a successful speaking business. And if you want to learn how to become a better speaker and grow as a speaker, I'm doing a live event in Tampa, Florida, July 23rd, 24th, 25th. I'm hosting it, where you can learn how to be an incredible presenter and get really good and crush it so that you can take your status to the next level. And you can go to truespeakingsuccess.com/summit. And this is just one of the businesses I own outside of the Art of Likeability. So you can come hang out with me live and learn about what I do. And join me every month if you want to, live and in person, via video, and get our online courses and such. It's a lot of cool stuff, right? Now, the words and using my words really changed my life. Like, being someone is also kind of like, in a weird way, knowing what your strengths and what your weaknesses are also was a lesson I learned from that. For example, my strength wasn't my fighting skills. Like, I was never going to be an MMA fighter. I was never going to punch people in the face. Like, that's not, and like, ultimately that worked out in my favor, right? Because as an adult, if I try to solve my problems by punching people in the face, I'm not going to get far in life. Or if anything, I'm going to go to prison more than I'm going to go to, the next level in life. So because of this experience, it kind of forced a door closed that opened a new one that I thought was a short end of a stick at the time. But it's only until I was further enough ahead that I could look back and realize it was supposed to be that way. So I want you to have more faith when doors close in your life, that it's happening for a reason, that it's happening because something new is opening. It's actually an extension. It's not like the end of a legacy or a chapter. It's a new beginning. And if you look at when something ends in your life as the beginning of something new, you may not see it, but when you look back, it's there. Like, I would encourage you right now, take a look into your past. Take a look into your life and ask yourself, what's something where a door closed and you thought everything was over, but it actually wasn't. It was the beginning of something new, something that maybe you couldn't even have seen in the first place. You have to hold on to that in these moments of transitions, because what I found is that in life, the only thing that's constant is that nothing is constant. It's always evolving and always changing, and there's no leveling and getting back to it. So the more you can be okay with that, the more you can be okay with when things aren't going the way you want. Maybe you'll be more okay with taking action steps that you need to take to grow. And you become more confident, and you become more level-headed, and you become more accepting. Because I think a lot of the pains that we have in life come from not the challenges of life, but our desires for life to be easier or different. And when can we accept the way the world is right now, you'll be in a much better place. So I encourage you to look at your current life, or look at something that has ended, or a relationship that's ended, or something that's been causing you pain, and ask yourself, well, what good has come from it? What connections have I had? And it'll give you a lot of internal peace, because I genuinely believe happiness isn't necessarily the goal. I think peace of mind is the goal. And I used to think happiness was the goal. Like, I want to be happy. There's nothing wrong with happiness. But I think when you have peace of mind, that's something that's a lot more consistent, because you can't have happiness all the time, right? Does that make sense? Like, you achieve happiness, but no one stays in a state of happiness all the time, but you can stay in a state of peace of mind all the time. So I hope this podcast helps you get a little bit more peace of mind. And I hope that if there's someone that you love that might be going through a challenge or might be dealing with not being able to let something go, you share this episode with them so that they can have that peace of mind that they deserve. Because as long as you're living, you deserve peace of mind. So let me know what you think about this particular episode. Let me know how it helps you. Leave a review on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, wherever you're listening to us. Just go ahead and leave a 5-star review. It helps way more than you know. And it means a lot to me. And I read every single one. And, we got hundreds of countries, 172 countries that listen to this podcast. So let me know where you're from. Shoot me a tweet at Aurel Moody or hit me up on LinkedIn, Aurel Moody, Facebook, Aurel Moody. Let me know where you're from. Just let me know you listen. You don't have to even say anything. You don't have to be like, oh man, this happened in my life. You just be like, hey, I'm from Zimbabwe. I listen to your show. Hey, I'm from Mexico. I listen to your show. Hey, I'm from Philly and I listen to your show. And I'm going to be like, what's up, man? I love it when y'all reach out. Seriously, people reach out to me. I respond. It's a beautiful thing. So reach out to me. Leave a 5-star review. And I'm out of here, y'all. Oh, and for those of you who are interested in, that speaking stuff I was talking about, the other stuff I do, definitely go to truespeakingsuccess.com/mastermind to join our monthly program. Or come meet me in person and learn from me live about how to if you are a professional, an executive, someone who is of significance and you're looking to really take it to the next level, I'm going to show you how in your field to use speaking and how to get speaking and how to really become good at it. Regardless if you think you're great at it right now or not good, I will show you how to become good at it so you can really take your career to the next level. So that event is truespeakingsuccess.com/summit. And the event's called the True Speaking Success Summit. It's one of the branches here that I do. So I do the Art of Likeability, which is this podcast. I do True Speaking Success, and I do something called the College Success Program. Some of you may not know all the companies that I run, but I run multiple companies, and I love all the work that I do, and I love impacting people. So if this tickles your fancy, come on over and join us. It'll be a lot of fun. I'm out of here, y'all. Remember, by the way, before I go, the information on this podcast ain't going to change your life. The implementation of this information will absolutely change your life. You are awesome. Psh.
Thanks for listening. Make sure to subscribe to our podcast, The Art of Likeability, and reach out with any questions you have. Until next time, remember, my friend, you are awesome.